Good evening, everyone. Today we are reviewing Inspired by Marty Cagan. In this book, Marty has primarily focused on two main aspects. First, the role and elements constituting the role of a product manager. Second, what is the importance of creating the right product culture for success to solve customers and business problems? In this book, we have 67 chapters, and each chapter has an idea. So it's more like a reference book which has to be referred back and forth. What all it has talked about right product, right people, right process, culture, and definitely lessons from the top tech companies. So if you are an inspiring product manager and you want to success as a product manager, this book will definitely inspire you. Our team consists of Karthi, me, Harshita, Kiran, Amaya, KB, Siva, and Anupama. You all might be wondering who all should read this book. Those who all want to understand this role in depth, and those who are thinking of switching a career to product management. And last but not the least, people who are closely working with the product managers like designers, engineers, user researchers, data scientists, and many more. I to read this book. So Marty in this book has beautifully articulated each and everything in a very reiterative manner and a very step-by-step fashion. You will be able to get in sync with what he's trying to say, and the probability of being successful through this book will be very high. What it really means to be a successful product manager, this book will definitely share with you, because you will also get to know how to scale the product organization and create an innovative product culture within your organization. With that, I'll share our first idea. What are the stages of companies and related challenges associated with it? So there are three stages of companies. We have startups, we have growth companies who are trying to grow and successfully scale, and then we have enterprise companies who are constantly trying to innovate their product. And with that, we have a story for Netflix. You all might have used Netflix, right? It's a fully grown and more than an enterprise company right now. But how it started, it started as a DVD rental company, and it has changed the way we spend time. Netflix started renting out DVDs by mail, and an year later, Netflix changed its pay-for-use model into a subscription model, which caters to the diverse needs globally. And nearly a decade later, it changed their proposition to a streaming service, which changed the way millions of people are spending their free time. And you know what? When Netflix was launched, Blockbuster was their biggest competitor, and it took Blockbuster years to start offering a similar service as Netflix, which they were already doing. So by the time they finally shifted to a subscription service, Netflix already has started the process of shifting their customers to streaming subscribers and was quitting the DVD rental business. This clearly articulates how Netflix has been stayed flexible and tried to adopt the product market fit to value our customers. I'm sure you all might have used Swiggy for ordering foods, right? So Swiggy is the great example of how they have effectively grow and scale and deployed in various countries through Swiggy Instamart, Swiggy Genie, which also enhances their features and made them grow successfully right now. Last but not the least, to follow the consistent innovation, Apple has been a great product because they are constantly tweaking their products throughout their journey. If they won't, they will become incomplete loss. Irrespective of what are the stages of companies, there are very important phases of making digital products, which are called the building blocks of product. So we have a vision, right? And then we start with, will it be a market fit or not? Then we go ahead with discovery, we prototype, delivery, and then we continuous discovery and delivery, which is going on, and delivery are iterative. It seems sequential, but it's not. So as you can see in this slide, it looks like it's a back and forth process which goes right. And you all might have experienced also that discovery and delivery are two essential high-level activities which are cross-functional and which results in a better outcome. we have heard of all like the great products, but there are times when some products fail. And the reason behind, as you can see, we start with ideas, we have a business case, we have a roadmap with requirements, we design, build, test, and ultimately deploy. But what you can see in this process, it's more like a waterfall process. It's not agile. Despite of you, most of you might have used agile, right? It's basically a perceived agile model. It's not actually agile. Why? Because it's starting with a narrow process. But when it's the time to build, then agile comes in. But it's not like that. It should be a back and forth process, which some of you might have experienced, but some of you might not have. Now, what are the problems behind all this, which results in this product failure? First is business cases. How much money you will make and how much money it will cost. This is not very well known for most of us at this time, right? Because and it's fairly important to know what we don't know. And next, sometimes we are so confident about our products, but our customers might not be excited the way we are, So even our ideas do prove to be successful, but it's not. Gathering requirements and documenting them for engineers is more like a project management task, not a product management. Now, all the damage has already been done, and we are just trying to coat it everything to look it better and better. UX designers know that it won't work because it's the time has already gone, but they are just trying to make it look better, and consistent so that it can be used, but it won't. Now, how can we overcome the failure? So, Kagan in this book has beautifully articulated that risks are tackled upfront instead of at the end. This is the first principle which we can follow to overcome failure. Second, products are defined and designed collaboratively, not sequentially. Third, it's all about solving problems, not implementing features just. Here's an interesting and inspiring story, I should say, from Google Adwords. I'm sure all of you might have heard of Google Adwords, right? It's a 16-year-old product, and last year AdWords has generated more than $50 billion. But no one knows about Jane Manning. She's the product manager who was asked to get it off the ground. There was initially huge resistance to AdWords at Google from engineering because they worked hard to provide relevant results, and from sales who were selling keywords to big brands and were legitimately nervous about cannibalization. AdWords just came close to not being built. She's the one who has worked out real issues and had to address the nervousness about advertising. She made the case for Google AdWords as the product for the small business owner. She went to a respected engineer at Google and convinced him of its virtue and influenced other engineers. She has made Google a richer company. And that is what a product success does now. If you are an aspiring product manager, then it's high time to get it off the ground. So this story clearly articulates that behind every great product, there is a great product manager.
So we looked at different stages of companies and their different, level of challenges. Then also discussed about building blocks of a digital product. Then also we studied about why uh, most of the products would fail. So now let's talk about building the right team, which comprises of product managers, designers, and engineers. And now let me talk about the role of each one of them. So here, essentially, I'm going to talk about, as Marty also mentioned in the book, three essential types of product managers and which one would work best for the product team. So here's the first type, as Marty termed it as backlog admin. Of course, in this type, product managers wouldn't have more of a say or decision making. Rather, most of the decisions or suggestions are coming from topmost executives and getting escalated up to the CEO level. That's why, it's been termed as backlog admin. The second type has been termed as roadmap admin. Of course, here again, the product managers wouldn't have, more of an action in the product management. Rather, stakeholders are being involved most of the time in terms of, getting, suggestions, or rather delivering what is to be done in terms of discovery and delivery point from the business perspective. So in the second type also would not work best for the industry as per the book. So let's look at the third type, which might suit best for most of the product teams. And also, it's been mentioned in the book that product manager is one of the strongest talent among all the people from the product perspective, because product manager should have, should be a bright talent. He should be, he should have a deep knowledge about business. He should be credible. Product manager should be passionate about what he's building. He should respect the team, and then eventually the strong customer or user base is very important from the building perspective, right? That's why I termed it myself as DIY, DIY, do it yourself, in terms of driving the product towards the success. Also, we can term that as product success admin. So we can easily relate to what this picture says. It says all about how people or companies celebrate the success of a product, right? So it's been celebrated widely when the product goes successful, because each and every single person in the product team has played their role to the potential. But when product fails, it all comes down to the product manager. The strategy didn't work, the discovery has gone haywire, and there will be so many blames on product manager to take alone, right? That's why it's very hard for a product manager to come up with a strong idea, initially, then scale it up to the business. So then comes the product designer. As Marty said, uh, the work of a product designer has not just been measured by what he's doing or the output. Rather, it's been measured by business scalable level, or in all the different stages of product management ecosystem. So these are some responsibilities of the modern product designer nowadays, right? So he should be involved in product discovery and should be aware of what product discovery means. Then he should be able to bring up the holistic user experience design. He should be aware of what prototyping is and the different types of prototyping. Then a product designer should also know the user testing methods, qualitative, quantitative, and how they are affecting the product. Then finally, the interaction and visual design. That's the final part of the modern product designer's responsibility. So as the author says, the design, the product design should not just cater a great outlook or in terms of the features, but it should solve you know the underlying problems. So, as an example, when Apple has introduced iPhone back in 2007, which was way ahead of their competitors, and which had solved the greatest problems in terms of usage, right? Because calling music, by introducing calling music and internet on a single platform, Apple was successful in terms of delivering a great features at the same time solving the underlying problem from the product. So let's talk about the engineers or developers or programmers. So probably as per the book, this is the most important relationship that product manager should maintain long lasting, right? Because engineers are the key, they play a very key role in terms of ideation and innovating product over the time, because they're the one who will be building the product and who will understand the different levels of problems while building the product. So that's why the product manager should always be intact with the engineer's mindset as well. So let's look at one of the very favorite statements from the book. And if not for all, that's for me, because I relate to this while I work from my domain as well, because and most of the engineers also could relate to this statement. The morale of engineers depend on this. We need to have the team of missionaries instead of having a team of mercenaries. What that means, missionary, is the one who will have eternal product vision and to keep every single strategy intact. Where if you cater the work to a mercenary mindset of an engineer or the team, so this brings up some traits that every product manager should possess, right? The first one is a deep knowledge of customer base or user base. Second one is the deep knowledge of data. Raw data becomes information that converts into knowledge, And eventually, with the help of data, information, and knowledge, PM can easily gain some useful insights to build a great product. The third one is deep knowledge of business. Obviously, without having the competitor knowledge, customer knowledge, or the trend knowledge, any product cannot scale up. And finally, we have deep knowledge of market and industry. So this is, again, not always about competitors, like we discussed, how trendful the product should be and what are the customer pains. And there goes deep data analysis as well in the market and industry. So as we saw, the role of each person, in the ecosystem, like product manager, designer, and engineer, when the company scales up, when the idea scales up, equally we will have the heads for or leaders for each and every single department. So let's look at the head of the product role and the head of technology and their responsibilities, right? So if we have to look at some key responsibilities or competencies of head of the product role, or rather called VP or a director of product role in the book. So some responsibilities are team development, product vision, product execution, and the product culture. Very important and key competencies for a head of a product role. When it comes to the head of technology, or rather termed as CEO or VP or director of engineering, they should be responsible in terms of organization building, leadership mapping, delivering the product, having a great architecture, to make product, to build, feasible, then discovery, and the CEO, or sorry, the CTO should be able to evangelize the product. When it goes out in the public, you should be able to market it well in terms of social media platforms or other marketing platforms. So this is how I illustrated some of the competencies of CPO or head of the product. Team development, as we discussed already, what should mean the team, right? So to have a great team, nurture the knowledge, nurture the skill, and to have the and to retain the team long lasting or eternal. So that's what means team development. Secondly, we have product vision. Again, the strong product vision can lead a product to the success. Product execution, how well a PM executes a product and also drives the team in the same direction. And eventually we have product culture. So good product companies all have these factors, but what strong product culture means, as per the author, is to have rapid testing and growing and developing a product. We should have fastest pace in terms of iterating and developing the product. Great. I mean, we have come to an end of this idea. So as we looked previously about the different types of product managers, right? And the third one, which was suiting best for the product teams, which was like product success admin. That's how we termed it. And with this example, I think, Leah Hickman, who was then product manager of Adobe, who fits a great example of this category, or a product success admin, right? So we all know how softwares used to be shipped back in the day. So this story goes a decade ago, while Hickman brought this idea up of innovating the Adobe Creative Suite, which was already scaling up, generating lots of revenues for the company. But what was the need of innovating a cloud suite for the company? Then Leah had a great idea, which can go heck of a higher in terms of revenue and create a great brand in the market, especially for the designers and product managers. Now tell me how many designers and product managers are relied on, Adobe Creative Cloud these days. Back in the day, we used to rely on Final Cut Pro and whatnot. But now, the way Leah Hickman brought up this idea and scaled up this product to heck of a higher revenue, which is, creating $1 billion recurring revenue every year, and then took Adobe to the net revenue of $60 billion to this day. That's why a great, to have a product success admin category of a product manager is very scalable for every product team.
So we discussed on the building blocks for a successful product, and we looked into what a right team, right people who will comprise of. Now we will talk about a right product, what we are going to do. So what do we mean by right product? What we mean by right product is the product which we will be able to validate and we will be able to make it successful in the market. How do we do that, right? I think we can talk about it. So there is two way where he is talking about, Kagan is talking about it. One is about having a right product vision, and then to have the right strategy for building it. So the product vision is the why, and the strategy is the how. Then using the right business objectives and high integrity commitments. What each one of this we will talk about it, right? The product vision is looking into the future. What the future we want to create for the product. That's your vision, right? That's what we're talking about. And the strategy is how do you go and reach it, which is the sequence of releases you will make, different milestones you will look for, different user persona, different geographies you are going to look into. All of them will come in that, right? So in this, if you're talking about the vision, 1 minute. So the vision, if you're trying to talk about for your product, it should be inspirational, it should be meaningful, it should have the leap of faith what we look for, right? Let's take a simple example, which you all use for day in, day out. 2015-16, UPI got released in India, and there were a lot of products which were trying to cram the market. Today, seamlessly, we use the word GPay for making payments in your mobile app, right? So their vision was very simple: enable the payments faster and easier for customers and merchants. That's what they had it. And you know that they are a grand success today with that. One example, if you have to talk about. The next one is about strategy. The strategy is about how are you aligning it with your business? How focused are you to look into it? And how that product strategy has been communicated across your company. It is also aligned to with the other stakeholders. We're talking about the sales team, we're talking about the marketing team. So what is your next release? What is going to come in? All this will be in the strategy, which needs to be communicated with all of them, right? So this is a great point from Jeff. I think most of you would have read it if you have read Jeff Bezos and Amazon. It's about be stubborn on your vision, but be flexible on the details, which is you play a long game, right? Like you look for what is your vision and how to reach it. You can have different ways to look at it. Makes a lot of sense to me. That's why we added it over here. One example of talking about this vision and strategy which has worked well for one of the Microsoft products is what we are seeing here, right? Surface. So Surface was as a product created for mobility, hardware and software created to work in a canvas which is of different sizes. We are talking about a tab, we are talking about a 11-inch, 18-inch, 25-inch, and even a slice of a projector, right? All those things, there were hardware and software created so that the mobility problem, whatever you're creating in the mobility, you are able to fit it seamlessly. That's a wonderful product. If you have used Surface in your life, you will love it. So if you have used other Microsoft laptops, and then if you're trying to compare it with Surface, you know what I'm speaking about. That's a story where it has been better. Right. So now one part of it we covered, right? As a product, what you have as a vision, your purpose, your why, and then we talked about the strategy. The next one, what we are going to look into is how are you going to achieve it, right? Like which is objectives. He is using a methodology. Again, is recommending a methodology which is objective and key results. This is covering both qualitative and quantitative. So objective, what are you going to look into and how are you going to achieve and how are you going to measure it about the achievement is the qualitative and quantitative part. So if I have to, this until now what we spoke, if you remember Harshita in the beginning told you about different types of companies and she told about how it will work fit for different types of companies. In the specific book, which is second edition, Kagan has touched on about if it is at scale, what we have to look for. He has touched about it, right? So at scale, you should remember that your customer is important than your competition. Because as you are growing, you will have other competitors who are doing copycat, whatever your USP, they are also trying to use it. So the default reactive approach is, okay, the competition is working on something else, I have to look for it. Rather than that, look into what value you will add for your customer. So your customer is greater than the competition. Then the next one is you as a product manager, you should be the greatest evangelist for your product, right?
One of the major things when it comes to evangelism, I'm just taking over because he's not here, is use a prototype to talk about things. Do not use slides. Say somebody who works in Microsoft and builds PowerPoint. But yeah, share the pain of your users. Show the people in the room that why should they care about your customers and their pain. Share the vision with your customers. Like, what are you trying to build? You don't have to talk about features, but you can definitely talk about the vision. Give credits to people who are actually building the product and helping you to build the product really well. And make sure there is enough excitement, there is buzz and enthusiasm, and give some great demos, tell stories, spend time with the team. These are all great ways that evangelism can actually work. So as a PM, it becomes a very big part of your and my role to go ahead and do this, even though nobody tells in our job description that you have to do this. This really helps us to create a product culture. And most importantly, focusing on solving the problem would yield us better products than just building feature on features. And it's a very classic thing that it is told to us that we should build roadmaps. And Marty kind of argues it the opposite way. He says, don't go for roadmaps, go for objectives and key results, go for iteratively building the product, the continuous discovery. And that's what will give more success than actually putting down the roadmap. And it was something which was very big on our head as well. Like, what is this product discovery all about? And that's something that we will discuss in this next big idea. So what is this purpose of product discovery? So if you really look at the core product discovery principles, it actually starts with exploration. Basically, you are starting with some idea, and then you're validating it with your customers using a prototype, you're testing, you're learning, and then you're building. And you're doing this continuously so that you're exploring and validating and building. And that's pretty much what helps you in building the right product. Shiva, you're back, and I was just covering for you. So let me just share with you the principles of what is a product discovery, the core of it consists of. First thing first, it's all about solving business problem. The solution should solve a business problem. It's not about, there's no brownie points for adding more features. That's the first principle. The second one is, it's not looking at just tech or just functionality or just design. How can we intertwine the whole thing and have it in the product at all times? And how do we validate our ideas with real users and real customers, basically your target? And as a result of it, you will see that many ideas won't work. And that is important for you to know that these are ideas don't work, this many ideas don't work, and things like that.
Yes, so now that we have heard of discovery principles, let's see some of the discovery techniques. Product discovery is very important responsibility of a product manager, as you all are aware. Framing, planning, ideating, prototyping, and testing techniques. They are generally in sequence, but many times we have to work back and forth. Next, why do we need these techniques? Let me give you an example. Imagine it's Sunday evening. You have your favorite cricket match against Pakistan, and your favorite friends are coming for dinner. You have made delicious dinner, and suddenly you realize that your kitchen sink is choked up. You have to fix it. What do you do? What do you do, Karti, in this case?
Call my plumber.
Yes, exactly. Why do you call a plumber? Because the plumber may not be smarter than you are, but he comes with his tools, with his techniques, and his expertise. He gives you confidence that your work will be done soonest possible. Same way, these product discovery techniques will enhance a product manager's ability to uncover risks, gain team's confidence, and deliver successful products. I'm going to explain these 5 types of techniques to you with an example. Our transportation system was not like this 10 years before, was it? One of the big names changing the transportation is Uber, and the tagline is move the way you want. Here, we see someone wants to board a flight and someone wants to go to office. Their needs are different, and so the budget is also different. Let's take an example of demand management of these drivers and riders. Next, the framing technique that we have. The framing techniques help us to quickly identify the underlying risk that must be tackled during our product discovery. So there are three different types. How do we do it? The first one is opportunity assessment technique. It will identify the objectives, key results, target market. The customer letter technique is there is an idea to create a thank you letter from clients with sentences like what are the real benefits to them. You all have read the press release before, and the only difference is that this is entirely imagined. And the third one is startup canvas. Startup canvas is similar to business model canvas, and they would tell you about the risk that you might have with your partners, with your channel, with your revenues. We could create a thank you email from the girl to Uber boarding the flight during off hours, and how she has got real benefit using Uber rides off hours. Planning techniques are the techniques which help us identify bigger challenges when we grow, and when we are not in the startup phase, we are in the growth phase, and how do we attack our work. And story map technique will tell you which story you should prioritize. So in our example, it might happen that surge pricing story will take a priority over the bike share story priority. The customer discovery technique is another technique which is highly being recommended by the author, because this is where he tells us at least create 6 pilot reference client which will tell good things about you, and they will also should support you in your product discovery work. And the ideation techniques, they help us to get different ideas. So once you do brainstorming, there will be thousands of ideas, and you might get confused which to take up. The real ideas would generally come from the customer interviews, because they know how to do it. They will come from the concierge test, because then at that time we do what clients do, and we do those tests on behalf of client on real systems. And misbehavior and hack are the things where we go beyond the expectations, but however we would identify some of the ideas which are good to work on. Prototyping is something that we generally create to gain confidence of our development team, of our leadership team. And in prototyping, we create feasibility prototype where we create a small working code, and there we actually ensure that there is no technical risk while creating this. And we also have live data prototype where we provide live data to our product, and we check that our solution will actually work for real users. And in many times we combine them. The testing techniques will help us to quickly try out our ideas. So what do we want to test exactly when we want to build up some product? So will my user choose to buy this solution or not? Will they figure out how to use it? Will it be complex? What is the usability? How can we build this? What is the feasibility? Is this solution viable for our business? What is the business viability? So there are different kind of testing we have to do, like usability testing, value testing, demand testing, qualitative value testing, quantitative value testing. So there are so many things, and it is impossible for me to cover in just 8 minutes. So please go and read this book in detail. And this is the very huge and intense book. Bottom line is there is no one perfect taxonomy for discovery techniques, because several of the techniques are helpful for multiple different situations, and you need to master depending on the situation, and that's how you grow in your role as a product manager.
So we learned about discovery. Now let's discuss about managing stakeholders and importance of strong culture and innovation and execution. Who exactly is a stakeholder? Marty says That's someone who can prevent your work from launching. One and the biggest learning is sharing your work with everyone. Is the CXOs, is the leaders, is the business partners, someone from finance, legal and compliance, business development, product manager has to manage it all. Additionally, the product manager has the responsibility to also listen from everyone and then communicate all this knowledge to the product team. How will they empathize with his problem? The crucial thing to achieve that is to have mutual respect among the stakeholders. They should know that you are a competent PM. Marty mentions that often product manager shows the final solution, and it is very important to preview the solutions before building. It's about talking to all the stakeholders. It is about managing upwards. If you get into an opinion contest with the stakeholders higher up, it would be very difficult to win that contest. It is very important to get that data to back your assumptions. In this whole dilemma, it is very important to test business viability as well. Presentations is the last way where anyone will give opinions. It is very important to set one-on-one meetings. Prefer high fidelity prototypes. A marketing person would prefer a high fidelity prototype with the final copy, and the lawyer will probably want to validate that. Give a chance to everybody. It is important to build a strong product culture. And product culture involves innovation and execution both. A very strong customer-centric culture. Learn from customers, not gather requirements. Obsess over reference customers. Have compelling product vision. Missionary-like focus. Very focused product strategy. An intentional sequence of target markets to focus on. And strong product managers, they really know their stakeholders. They brainstorm openly and have ability to have open discussions. The teams, the product teams, they should have enough time knowing about the context, the technology, and the customer pain. It is very important to involve engineers and designers in discovery. I have personally experienced, I involved engineers early in the process, and they helped me solve the solution very quickly. They empathized it. Have the corporate courage. Understand engineers' technical debt. Have an empowered product teams. Solve real problems and radically try out new ideas. It is very important to have innovation and execution go together. The innovation, it comes from the open minds and experimentation. Teams know that they can run tests. Some will succeed, some will not. Teams know that developers have a deep understanding of business needs and constraints, and also access to users and customers. There are different skill set and staff diversity, which will get enough opinions on the table. And of course, true innovation can be inspired by new technology and analysis of data. There has to be an urgency. People should feel like they are in wartime. And if they don't move fast, bad things could happen. It has high integrity commitments and accountability. Should be a culture of empowerment. They should have all tools and resources and permissions to whatever needs to be done to meet their commitments. And with collaboration, results do come. But is there the focus on output, or is there the focus on results? Marty then ends the book with points to ponder in innovation, execution, and culture. He asks that, is an innovation culture in any way inherently at odds with the execution culture? Is it creating stressful work environments? What people are we actually attracting to our teams? And how is it influencing our product development? And we end the book.
Thank you so much, sprinters, for pulling this feat of reviewing inspired of all the books in the world with 67 chapters. Thank you so much. 3 cheers to all of you. Very well done. So you have some amazing questions lined up for you already. Folks, in the meantime, please give them cheers and let's get to the questions.